What is going on out there, peeps? Okay, so yesterday I shared some information on a Vietnam Dong video, and I realized the vast majority of you guys actually watched the Iraqi Dinar video. So I'm going to share the same information. So does some of you guys. It might be repetitive. Okay, it might be. It might be. Not sure. We'll see. Okay, but I'm going to share it with the Dinar community anyways. It might be some good news or it might not. We'll see. Look at our boy Al Kadimi. Man, he is looking way too comfortable at his job. I still think he looks like the mayor from the Nightmare Before Christmas. Let me know what you think. But nonetheless, he is kicking booty. And we're going to talk about that. So the Parliamentary Finance announces the agreement to reduce the salaries of the higher grades of employees. I know what you're thinking. Why reduce the salaries when you could just increase the rate? I know. That's the same thing I was thinking. Anyways, members of Parliament Finance Committee, Jabari, explained on Wednesday the fact of going to the option of deduction or compulsory saving for the salaries of the employees with regular grades. Okay, first of all, I just think it's weird that they grade their employees. Al-Jabari said in a press statement, the financial crisis of the country is a realistic matter that it's not hidden to all. Yeah, we all know about it. And whose responsibility is borne by the people as a whole. And we must join hands to cross the crisis. Yeah, when I first read this paragraph, I'm aging myself. But a long time ago, we did this thing called Hands Across America. I remember my uncle took part of it with my cousins. And I don't remember if they made it all the way across the country, but there was a time frame in which everybody would go out and they would lock hands. And it was supposed to been able to stretch all the way across America. I don't know how many of you guys remember that, but as soon as I read that, I was like, why does that remind me of that? Nonetheless, he stated that the Financial Committee agreed to reduce the salaries of the higher grades from a general manager and above. As for the employees of the regular degree, we will be a defense lawyer for them, not to prejudice their salaries. Well, I'm sure they appreciate it. He stressed the salaries of the 4th and 5th months are already distributed, and they are in the process of preparing for the 6th month. And the state is able to prepare from taxes and attractive them and customs, in addition to internal and external borrowing. Okay, so look, I find it interesting that they've taken care of the salaries for the 4th and 5th month, and they're looking at a way to pay for the 6th month, which is June. And then after that, something. Nothing. But anyways, nonetheless, very interesting. Very, very interesting, because maybe by July they might have the money. I wonder where it's coming from. I know you're thinking the same thing I am. Al-Kadimi, to the Secretary General of the United Nations, the need of your cooperation to accomplish the Iraq elections and prepare for them. Now, I told you guys this before. Prime Minister Al-Kadimi is not there long term. He's just there long enough for the people to go to early elections. So we'll see what happens. The Prime Minister Kadimi received a phone call today, Wednesday, from the Secretary General of the United Nations, Antonio Guterres. In a statement from the Prime Minister's office, received a copy of it. Guterres congratulated at the beginning of the communications Al-Kadimi on the occasions of his assumption of his duties, expressing his wishes for the success of the government in facing various challenges, as well as completing the ministerial cabinet, and also congratulated Al-Kadimi and the Iraqis on the occasion of Eid al-Fitr. Okay, so good deal. Good deal. So, look, I'm glad they're reaching out to them, because we need the United Nations to come in and help out Iraq. I know. I already hear you guys saying it. I can hear the clapping in there. What do we think is going to happen? It'd be nice, the United Nations, to go in there and help these guys get out of Chapter 7 and then have their currency recognized internationally. That would be huge for us. Anyways, like always, I'll leave the link to these so you guys can come down here and read these, because they are pretty long. There's not a whole lot of anything really going on. We just know that this week coming up, There's going to be some voting on the still to fill vacancies of the cabinet for Kademi. I just have a feeling we're not going to get a lot of resistance, although some of the articles are stating that that's what's going to happen. But I don't know, call me crazy, but I think this is going to get filled. They are. There seems to be this rush of things happening. All right, so let's get into good stuff. But before I do, a quick reminder. I do have Pimpy's Investment Chat. It's the same name as the YouTube channel. I will leave a link in the description. It's free to come join us. We talk about all kinds of investment things in here. You know, dinar, Vietnam dong, gold, silver, cryptocurrencies. For those of you who like conspiracy things, I have another group, and that's where all the political, conspiracy, Jacera, Nacera, all those come over into this group, okay? And I will leave a link for that as well. Come join us. It's free to do so. Now, I read this in the video for the the Vietnam dong, and I'm going to hesitantly read this to you guys again. Somebody had laid out a plan on how the global currency reset was going to happen and the actual rates they believe it to be. Now, I sat with a friend of mine who's in the know, and we went through this article, and I was mocking it at first. And then he said something to me very interesting. So I'm going to lay it on you guys. So here we go. We're talking about the global currency reset. This article is about 3 years old, but it doesn't matter. I'm just using it to make a point. So the first basket of currencies, the Vietnam dong, the Iraqi dinar. Those are two names we are familiar with. Zimbabwe dollars and Indonesia rupiah. From the bankruptcy to the breakthrough. See, this is what a lot of people don't realize about a lot of these currencies. The reason why they're not on the international scene is because they are in Chapter 7 bankruptcy. The task of resetting all sovereign... Now, okay, real quick. Remember, Trump said a level playing field. Everybody must be on a level playing field. This is also why he's put in such strict rules when it comes to currency manipulation. This is also why Trump has been working with the World Trade Organization on making sure that everybody does what they're supposed to do regarding their currency. Now let's get back into this. The task of resetting a global currency reset, all sovereign currencies back to a par gold value. Countries agreed to be audited to determine who might be closest or furthest from the common gold standard. Now, here's the thing. It's not just the gold standard. So we are going to go back to a form of the gold standard, but I believe in order for this to actually happen, we need to do a 100% across the board global currency reset, and each currency must be backed and supported by gold, silver, as well as other assets, okay? Other assets, whether it's diamonds, whether it's oil, whatever it is. I think that's what's going to happen. As a matter of fact, it has to happen that way in order for this to happen the way this article is written. Other countries like the United States, where are we at? Furthest away, okay, so those who are furthest away were placed in what has been called the first basket of revaluations. Meaning the above four countries, which is the ones we just talked about, were grossly undervalued. We know this. This is why we invested into it. And selected to redeem first at some pre-agreed international rate. We've spoken about the fact that they keep two rates. Other countries like the United States, Japan, Switzerland, Great Britain, Germany, and Australia were deemed overvalued and placed in the opposite but similar first basket to revalue. Now, I told you this was going to happen. We were going to get to a point where the dollar would devalue. As a matter of fact, Trump said it's too powerful as it is. This is why you are seeing such wide swings in value per those countries' central banks and treasury currency rates. Now, some countries, Zimbabwe, Iraq, Vietnam, and Indonesia, have had such unstable political and monetary histories over the past 50 years that their currencies were deemed insolvent at some point by the IMF and the World Bank. We know this. This is the problem. We're waiting for them to make sure they are solvent again. Each was stripped of their international trading status, and physical sanctions were taken against their sovereign currencies. which equates to a bankruptcy on the diplomatic level. Yeah, we talk about this. Chapter 7, we know this. All four countries had to then earn the right to trade again within the international marketplace, going through years of compliance steps in order to reinstate their national currency as good standing members of the global community. Now, these are all those steps we used to talk about. Remember, there was a checkoff list when I was on the other YouTube channel? We said all these things had to be done. Okay, so these are what we're talking about. Now, in my opinion, Vietnam out of the four is way closer than everybody else. Vietnam and then Iraq is second behind them. Indonesia is not far. Okay, and the reason for that is Vietnam and Indonesia were able to benefit from the trade war with China. In addition to that, they're benefiting from countries getting the hell out of China because of the Rona. Okay, nonetheless, let's continue. The good news, all four countries ultimately accomplished their Herculean task. Hercules, Mama's little Hercules. Sorry, I couldn't resist. And as a result, these currencies are being allowed back into the global marketplace. And this time, gold-backed per appropriate Basel III compliance. But if one more deeply investigated how physical currencies actually revalue, redeem, be they in the first, second, or third basket, it is important to consider the differences between the three very different public rates, all within their currencies, as each rate will be initially offered to the public, and all three eventually merge into a single, sustainable, and tradable global value benchmarked by gold. It's not just by gold. Maybe this is what they're talking about, the rainbow currency on the Nasera and the Jacera. There's not, people going, there's not enough gold. Yeah, it is. I'm going to explain to you how that is. Below our projected, I haven't got to the screen yet. Below our projected redemption rates for each of the first baskets of currencies, all rates can and will change based on traditional market forces called floating. In-country rate. Pimpy, didn't you say something about that? Yeah, I did say that. I said there would be two rates for them to monitor. There would be something that's going on the inside country and something on the outside. Yes. Let's scoot down a little more. Oh, teaser. Okay. The rate exists so local currency holders can easily redeem the new gold-backed currencies within the borders of their own countries. Remember, I did a video saying that, look, you guys think that all of us are going to be dealing directly with the CBI. Not going to happen. We deal with our bank. Our bank deals with our central banks. And then our central banks will deal directly with each country's whosever currency they have. I told you guys I felt there was some type of agreement that was going on. In other words, look, we'll handle each of our own citizens. We'll do the exchange. And in agreement, we'll settle our differences later, but then our central banks would hold these currencies as a form of foreign assets. I said that. I told you guys this is what's going to happen. That's what this article is saying as well. Dang, Pimpy, you're good. Yes, I know. Okay. So let's talk about this again. The rate exists so local currencies can be redeemed and go back within the borders of the country. The rate is internationally lower than other rates, as it is meant to ease citizens into the existing population back into trusting their national currency as legal tender. Remember, some of these countries have been in bankruptcy for many years, which means at one time they experienced very public bank failure. So metal coins are often used to help the emotional healing process, albeit at a lower rate, to counter overspending. Here we go, you guys. You ready? This is the in-country rates for Vietnam. 8 cents. It's not too bad. I said it'd be around 4 to 12 cents. Right in the middle there. Literally. Iraq at 358. Now, I still think it's around 134, but look at a lot of you guys said 358. Zimbabwe. Boom. 0.00014. That's still a huge gain in value from where they are. Indonesia to be announced. So international rate. The international rates, this is different than in country. The international rate is determined by the global monetary authorities governed by the BRICS alliance members. Now, I showed you guys this gold and silver. The BRICS, a graph, the BRICS nations since 2000 have been storing up on a ton of gold. And I think it's for this purpose. So the BRICS alliance members, many would call this the Forex rate. But essential, it's currency paid agreement upon price consistent anywhere in the world with a monetary value paid against a global gold standard. Now this is important. Look at this global gold standard, because I'm going to show you how that is going to make these rates possible. In the old banking system, the international rate was backed by the U.S. petrodollar. Whereas in the new banking system, the rate is backed by gold per Basel III compliance standard. Now, I remember saying that we're going to get away, Trump's going to go away from the petrodollar. People are like, no way, there's no way in hell the United States would give up that kind of power and control that they have on the world. Yeah, if you're a Democrat or Republican, that's not Trump. Trump is different. As much as you guys want to think he's not, he is. Look, Trump realized that the way this system is rigged right now, it puts way too much power in the hands of certain countries. And if you get into a government with really nefarious plans like the last administration, and with nefarious plans, then this could be very dangerous. So how do you reduce drastically the amount of power they have? By going back into the gold standard. That's right. Golden zombie nation. Only my long-term followers get that joke. Okay? So here we go. That's important. Remember, the global gold standard. The monetary value is going to be paid against a global gold standard. In the old banking system, the international rates were backed by the petrodollar. The new banking system, this is the rates backed by Basel III gold standards. So all of them signed non-disclosure agreements and are not expected to be required in order. Here comes the new rates. Signed by the non-disclosure are expected to be required in order to receive the international rate change. So here's what they're saying is going to happen out of country. Now, to me, I think this is a little overblown. And when my friend went over this, I said, that's impossible. He said, actually, it's not. And then he explained something to me that blew my mind that I didn't realize. The Vietnam outside rate is between 46 cents and $2.71. When I was on the other YouTube channel, I told everybody, look, they're probably going to come out around 4 cents, maybe 12 cents. I said the real rate is around 42 based on the formula that they have. So I was close. It's 46 cents is what they're saying to $2.71. Iraq, outside Iraq, $3.90 up to $8.49. Yeah, that's a stretch of my imagination, but I'm going to prove to you that it's possible. Zimbabwe, 4 cents to 14 cents. And the Indonesia rupiah, $1.05. Now, down below is what they have contractual rates. And I'm going to explain this because I'm not a fan of this and I didn't support that this could be realistic. But after kicking the idea around with my friend, a part of that makes sense. So I was like, how the hell can they afford these rates? He goes, what do you mean? You've been preaching about it on your damn channel since you opened it. And I go, I have? And he goes, yes. This has to be done. In order for these currencies to value like you do, you're going to need a total global currency reset. That's why they're talking about the 3 baskets. That's why they're talking about currencies that are undervalued being in one, along with currencies that are overvalued. I said, but how can he afford these rates? He goes, simple. You said it yourself. We're moving back to the gold standard. And I was like, oh, yeah. Okay, so now let me run something past you that some people are not going to believe. But that's okay. I want you to think about this because this is a legitimate thought on how this can be done. You guys heard me say about this in the other video. What gives the value? If I have a $100 bill, a US $100 bill, what gives it its value? It's just a piece of paper with ink. What makes it so valuable? It's because they told us its value. They said, look, that $100 bill you have is equivalent to $100 in purchasing power. And we accepted it. But the day people stop believing in that, and they just realize that it's just a piece of paper that's not supported or backed by anything, then it loses its value. That's like when somebody says, oh, look at this Michael Jordan rookie card. It's worth $2,700. Says who? You see, something's only as valuable as anybody is willing to pay for it. Does that make sense? What makes a Monet painting worth millions? That's because there's people out there that believe it's worth that amount of money in value. That's the same thing with currencies. What gives fiat currencies their value? Well, our governments tell us that is the value and we accept it. See where I'm getting at? Now, having said that, I told you guys you should start stacking up on gold and silver. Did I not tell you that? And I showed you, according to the National Debt Clock, where the real values are and that they were drastically undervalued and should be 5 times that amount. So let me give you something to gnaw on there for a second. What is to keep, and this is just an exaggeration, but it's a hypothetical I want you to think about. What is to keep the global community as a whole coming up with the agreement in which they say the value of gold and silver is XYZ? Nothing. Nobody would complain. Let me tell you why. Let's say, and this is just a hypothetical, calm down. But if they come out and they tell you, look, gold is worth $100,000 per ounce and silver is now worth $20,000 an ounce, who is going to complain? Think about that. Gold and silver holders are going to be, what? Hell yeah, they're going to be dancing around doing the pee-pee dance. We're all going to be meeting in Vegas. Hell yeah, you're going to be quadrillionaires, man, because who's going to dispute that? Who's going to be able to fight that? If your government tells you that is the new value of gold and silver, countries aren't going to argue with it because they all own gold and silver. Collectors aren't going to argue with it because they own gold and silver. Do you see the point I'm trying to make? So if they come out and they tell you that gold is now worth $100,000 an ounce and silver is now worth $20,000 an ounce. Now, could that be possible? Yeah, it actually could be possible. It really could. Who can stop that from happening? What's to keep any government, especially if the world agrees, the economical global community says, you know what, we'll agree to that. Who can stop them? Think about that. So if gold all of a sudden becomes, of course I'm just exaggerating, but I'm making a point because it's possible it could happen. But if these global communities all accept the fact that gold is now $100,000 an ounce and silver is now worth $20,000 an ounce, if you think about the world debt collectively, well then every country would have enough gold and silver to do what? Pay off their debt. Yeah, of course it would. And we would start all over from scratch. Guess what else you can afford? Yes, the rate change. Now you can afford the rate change. Do you see where I'm going with this? The rate change could be possible if they dramatically increase the value of gold and silver, as well as other assets. Who is going to be able to stop them? Seriously, think about that. If the world community, if China, Japan, all of them said, you know what, hey, we all say the same thing. Gold is now worth $100,000 an ounce. Who's going to question it? Who's going to be able to stop it? Do you see my point? Now, eventually what happened is all the people from the currency revaluations and all those gold and silver holders would get their money, whatever the new monetary system is. Of course, you would have a lot of rich people. Do you think that people would be too pissed to realize they just got duped? Okay? Because you're like, wait a minute, you just wiped out all the debt. How? You know what I mean? How did you just magically erased it by just pumping up the value of gold and silver? No, people aren't going to realize that the wool just got paid over the head. You don't have to worry about paying it long term because all the debt, we would have a total economical currency reset, starting everybody all off, and you would generate a ton of new millionaires around the world who would pacify and cause the economy to boom, with everybody's new spending habits. And then what would happen is gold and silver would slowly start coming down in value, and it would settle at a more realistic rate. And that would be done gradually over time. That's where these new contractual rates for these different currencies, the reason for that is this: you don't want every speculator and their mama running down to the bank all at one time. It would cause a serious economical issue. But if you can get a good portion of them to hang back and wait a little longer and do them in waves, you might be able to withstand a huge rush. Look, the only thing that gives anything its value is the belief that people believe it's really worth that much. $100 bill is just a piece of paper that says 100 on it. That's all it is. And the only reason why you think it's valuable is because you told it was, and that you can go out and purchase anything up to $100 with that piece of paper. So what is to keep the global community from changing the global gold standard to a value that's so high that they can afford to do the global currency reset? I want you to think about that. All right, now, all these are kind of out in left field ideas. I get that. And I got all you naysayers in there. I get that. But here's my question to you. If they tell you that gold is worth $100,000 per ounce, who's going to stop them? The citizens? No. No. Because there are people out there that hold gold. They hold silver. They're not going to say crap. They're going to be too happy. The people who don't hold gold and silver, no. If you're going to use this money and you do away with a lot of the debt and you lower their taxes and you put more money back in their pockets, and things become more value or more affordable for them, and they receive more benefits, they're not going to be mad. They're going to just be happy of a jubilee. They're going to be happy of a global currency reset. They're going to be too happy that now all of us get to start from square one on the same page. And what do we have? We have a level playing field. See where I'm going with this? All right, you guys, let me know what you think. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I just wanted to share this with you because I did it in the Vietnam Dong video, but I forgot not everybody watches both videos, and I just thought I would share this with you. All righty, I'll talk to you later. Bye.